How you doing, guys? This is Eric from Wasteland.com. This video is another that I'm doing in conjunction with JJ from Reality Survival and Che Prepper Logic, Prepper Trifecta. And the topic of this video, if you haven't seen the past ones, we each do a video on the topic, release it roughly the same time without knowing what the other person is going to say specifically about the subject. This video topic is the 5 things that every prepper should stop doing. And you know you should listen to me because I've got a sun oven, got water storage. Obviously, I'm an expert on prepping, so you just got to listen to what I say. But this is something that I've thought a lot about before doing this video, and it's very interesting because I could probably make quite a long list using myself as an example of all things that I know I've done improperly in the past when it comes to general preparedness, shit the fan prepping, whatever you want to call it. And I tried to focus on the ones that are the biggest issues. Not even necessarily the most prevalent, but the ones that are a combination of the most prevalent and the biggest concern to most preppers. So these are issues that crop up a lot, at least from my perspective, what I see, things that some of them I've had issues with in the past, maybe even still do. So here's my list of the 5 things that I think that every prepper needs to stop doing. These are in no particular order, so the one that's first is not necessarily the most important or the least important. This is just the order that I have them. All of these are important and I think are things that most preppers have probably struggled with at one point or another. And if you correct these, if you start doing these things, then I think you'll see a huge improvement in your levels of preparedness and just your life in general, but specifically related to preparedness. The first thing that I think every prepper needs to stop doing is stop neglecting fitness. It's become a trope almost about like the out of shape prepper, and certainly it's an issue for just most people in America and pretty much every Western country to begin with. Health and general fitness is at horrible levels, and it doesn't make any sense to try and be preparing for strenuous or extreme situations and not preparing your body as well. Doesn't mean you have to become some crazy health nut, but you do need to be able to reach just basic benchmarks of level of personal fitness and performance in certain areas. I did a video on this in the past. I'll try to remember to put the link in it about fitness benchmarks that I think everyone should be able to do. But when it comes down to it, if you can't walk or run with your bug out bag for a few miles for many days in a row, that could be an issue. If you can't even climb a rope, if you're stuck in a pit and someone throws a rope down to you and you can't even get out even with that kind of assistance, that's a problem. If you can't jog for even a few miles, that's probably a problem. If you can't pull yourself up over a ledge or a wall or things like that. These are just real world things you need to be able to do. Obviously, being obese and massively overweight is a huge problem just for general health, let alone being prepared in any fitness situation. And you don't want to have to put your body through some extreme shock of drastically reducing your calories or switching to a different type of nutrition in the already stressful situation of an emergency. You want to be able to get that stuff taken care of now, and it has the bonus effect of just being way better for you even if nothing happens. And that leads me into my point number 2. The second thing that preppers should stop doing, and I see this a lot, is you should stop ignoring everyday preparedness. Most of us focus on the extreme outlier events because those are the ones that could disrupt our lives the most. But what is most likely to disrupt our lives are the things that don't disrupt them quite that much, but happen all the time. Things like car accidents, minor medical emergencies, job losses, just all sorts of everyday little things that people don't prepare for. This is as simple as having the minor first aid kit, having extra keys for your house and your car, preparing for fires, preparing for lower level natural disasters, preparing for job loss, preparing for injuries and burglaries and security, normal security concerns like that. Not necessarily marauders in a shit the fan scenario, but burglaries and security, safety, all that normal stuff that's kind of boring compared to preparing for the apocalypse is all the stuff that's most likely to have an impact on your life over the next 10, 20, 30 years. It's probably not going to have a huge impact on your life, any one of those things, but something is going to happen from that list that I just mentioned. If it hasn't happened to you already, some of those things will affect you at some point in your life. So it makes sense to prepare for those things as well. You should start with the stuff that's most likely to affect you and prepare for that before worrying about major events. And I don't see a lot of preppers really spending a lot of time talking about this. Maybe they're preparing for it without talking about it. Maybe they're not. I've done numerous videos on stuff like this, stuff as simple as having a dash cam for save yourself from insurance scams and things like that and traffic incidents. That could make a huge impact on your life, and not necessarily as big an impact as a nuclear war or an EMP or something like that, but relatively easy fixes. That's what's so interesting about the everyday preparedness is it doesn't take nearly as much effort or money to basically eliminate these things as a risk completely. So I definitely suggest that preppers stop ignoring everyday preparedness, focus on that stuff as well, in addition to the major shit to fan events. The third thing that preppers should stop doing is stop having unbalanced preparations, or stop unbalancing your purchases and your acquisition of resources. So what this means is that keeping every aspect of your preps in line with each other and not just going way out of whack on one, which isn't necessarily even going to be useful if you run out of another. So for example, I've mentioned this before, and everyone has this issue to some extent, simply because if you buy or acquire certain assets, then you don't acquire them in the same increments every time, but you just don't want to be wildly out of whack. So for example, you don't want to have 20 years worth of ammunition and 3 days worth of water. You don't want to have, enough food to last for years, but not even a single piece of medicine, or you don't want to have to build 15 guns, but not have any body armor. This doesn't make any sense. So keeping all the things in line and using some sort of framework, and I'll get into this in a second, to make sure that that happens, but just, balancing out your preps. Don't just focus on the things that you particularly find interesting or fun, or just the things that you think about or worry about. Make sure it's all taken care of. Focus on the things you actually need to maintain whatever style of lifestyle that you are planning on maintaining in the event of emergency, and make sure that you have everything taken care of, from security, from health and hygiene and fitness, to temperature and climate, to ammunition, to food, water, pet care, tools, everything just the same level. So that means if you're trying to prepare for 3 days, you probably don't need to get certain things. If you're trying to prepare for a year, you need to make sure you have a year's worth of everything, not just certain things. So stop unbalancing your preps. Make sure you have the same level of preparedness, or close to it at least, in all the categories of things that are going to make a difference for you. Number 4. The fourth thing that preppers should stop doing is you should stop collecting gear without collecting the requisite skills to go along with it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get gear, but I'm just saying that having a stockpile of outdoor gear, bushcrafting gear, weapons, all sorts of various types of equipment that you could have for using in a shit to fan scenario, it's better than not having it at all. But if you haven't practiced with it, if you haven't trained with it, it's going to be of very limited use to you. And you could have spools and spools of paracord and stuff, but if you've never practiced your knots, it's going to be of limited use to you. You could have 15 guns, but you're not going to be as prepared as a guy who has one gun and actually trains with it, monthly or quarterly or daily or whatever. And you could have all the food in the world, but if you're out of shape and you're not practicing actually rationing, actually surviving, and being able to do physical labor on ration food, or just on any level of nutrition, then you're not going to be in as good as shape as someone who has all that squared away and maybe slightly less food. So don't just focus on the physical resources. Focus on also, this goes back to balancing as well. There's some overlap here. Balance the resources and the equipment with the knowledge and the skills to use it as well. Because it's very tempting, and it kind of is able to kind of assuage that element of thinking you're not ready by buying something and be like, okay, good, I've taken care of that. But have you really, if you haven't ever even used it, if you have a lamp, a propane lantern or something like that, and all the pieces are spread out and you've never actually had to put the mantle on there and get it ready to actually use and screw, first of all, you might not even have all the stuff that you need without knowing it. And certainly you don't want to be in a stressful situation trying to do this stuff for the first time. You want this stuff to all be to the point where you're at least comfortable with it, if not expert level muscle memory where possible, for at least some of the things. So just do this stuff, just practice, pick something, whether that's, for me, I just mentioned knots. I want to practice a lot more on knots. I want to practice things like lock picking skills. I have some of the tools to do that, but I've had very limited experience with actually doing it, so I want to practice that. Obviously, keeping up with your firearm skills, very important. So you want to be able to actually skillfully use and skillfully, efficiently, and effectively use the equipment that you have, because otherwise it's going to be not that much more useful than not having it. Certainly it's more useful than having nothing always. So if you have the opportunity to get useful gear and you get useful supplies, go ahead and do it. But don't slack on making sure you know how to use it properly and effectively and efficiently as well. Number 5, and I will say I think this is probably the most important one on my list. They're not, in general, the list isn't in any particular order, but this one is big. And we've touched on it before in our trifecta videos, and I mentioned it sort of briefly in my last video about the food shortages or the prices that might rise as a result of flooding in the Midwest. And that is to stop preparing from a position of fear and without a specific plan. You know, you shouldn't just always be looking for, oh, this thing's going to happen because of this, or oh, the UN's doing this, or oh, Obama's going to make himself emperor and then he's going to take all our guns away. Preparing is about making sure you have all the things you need taken care of regardless of what happens. Obviously, focusing on specific scenarios can be useful to figure out what you might need, because there's little bits of differences in what you would need depending on what the scenario is. But in general, being prepared is about you, not about what's happening outside. It's about being able to react to whatever happens and maintain your systems of support, maintain the things that you need. So that means being able to leave if you need to, being able to provide food, water, shelter, protection, all that stuff, regardless of what's going on. So I've always recommended, I did a podcast a while back, I think it's on the website, Wasteland.com, about having a prepper mission statement and a specific plan instead of basing it off just whatever is particularly scary at the moment. So I always say my basic plan is being able to go 6 months without pretty much any outside support. Like if everything shuts off, you can't go to the store anymore, the electricity shuts off, everything's done, there's no way you can get more resources from someone else with just money, then I want to be able to withstand that for 6 months with minimal loss of quality of life. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to have the same quality of life if the internet's down and you don't have electricity and things like that, but being able to maintain the same similar sort of lifestyle, i.e. I'm not going to be filthy and starving and everything else with no light, no warmth, you know, and just surviving. You want to actually be able to maintain as close to possible a normal lifestyle for 6 months. That's my plan. Doesn't mean it will never change. Doesn't mean it will be adequate. It might be inadequate depending on what happens. But you could always find what ifs are going to make your plan inadequate. And that's not the way that you should be prepping, because that's fear-based. It's going to lead to unbalancing in your preps, which we talked about. It's going to lead to just general stress in your life that's unnecessary and not helpful. It's going to lead to you ignoring the everyday preps and everyday preparations, that I talked about earlier as well. And it's going to lead to some of the other problems that I've mentioned in this video. So you just don't want to be fear-based. You don't want to always be looking for the next climactic event behind every. You see some of these channels that have been on YouTube for as long as mine, and every week they're making videos about how things are about to get shit the fan. And look around you. You know, things happen like that all over the world that could be considered shit the fan events, but they're not the end of the world. And that's why you need to prepare out from a position of decision made, like a conscious decision, not a fear-based decision. It needs to be rational and needs to be planned out, and just pick something, like pick 3 days, pick 6 months. It can be a time-based, it can be you want a self-sufficient homestead, whatever you do, just choose it, try to accomplish that plan. And if you get new information that you think maybe now you need to alter your plan, then do it because of that. Don't do it because you just watched a YouTube video about how crops are destroyed and you're not going to get food anymore, or about how this new gun law is being passed and then, you know, there's going to be another civil war, or because this volcano is going to go off and half the U.S. is going to, you know, don't prep because of that stuff. Prep because you realize that something from this list of all these things that people are always talking about could potentially and is probably going to happen at some point. But instead of trying to figure out what it is and be, you know, time the market, so to speak, just focus on being prepared to that level of preparedness that you've predetermined ahead of time will cover most of those bases. For me, I think, like I said, 6 months to a year on the outside will cover almost all of these circumstances when you mix in things like being able to bug out and things like that. And then if you want to go full on self-sufficient homestead beyond that, then you're covered for a lot of stuff. You know, most scenarios you could ever come up with, you're going to be in pretty much the best possible position that you could put yourself in. And that's just a decision that you've made looking at all the possible scenarios. It's not fear-based. That's what you need to be doing. So number 5 was to not prep based on fear. So my whole list, number 1 through 5, things that you should stop doing. Stop neglecting your fitness. Stop ignoring everyday preparedness and only focusing on the major shit the fan events. Stop getting preps and supplies in an unbalanced fashion. Make sure all your categories of preps are at least somewhat up to speed with each other. Stop collecting just gear and supplies without collecting the skills. And stop preparing out of fear without having a specific plan. So those are the 5 most important things that all preppers should stop doing. Let me know what you guys think about that 5, and if you have any 1 or 2 that you think should have been on this list. Because there's a lot that I could have mentioned that are kind of nuisances and annoyances that preppers do a lot, but that aren't real major problems. These are the 5 that I think I've identified as, if you could eliminate these 5 things from what you're doing, your preparation and your ability to just live your life normally as well and simultaneously be expertly prepared has just gone way up. And I think it'll put you in a much better position for every possible scenario that could possibly come your way. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later.